Anyway, Valentine's Day is coming up. Are we excited for Valentine's Day? We've established it's mostly couples in here, so like, you know, you better be. No, Valentine's Day, people don't think about it this way, but Valentine's Day is a religious holiday, right? It is Saint Valentine's Day. We leave that part out, right? And Saint Valentine is the patron saint of love and marriage, you know. But like, I went to Catholic school, so I know a lot about the patron saints, right? Like, you know, the way the patron saints are supposed to work is like, you pray to the patron saint of what you need, right? So like, St. Francis is the patron saint of the impoverished, right? So like, if you need money, you say a prayer to St. Francis. Lost items, if you're looking for something, can't find it, you're supposed to say a prayer to St. Anthony. St. Jude is the patron saint of lost causes, so like, when I told my parents I was going to be a comedian, they were like, all right, prayers to St. Jude. And while we're on the subject, fucked up thing to name a children's hospital after, right? Like, some little giggles there. Like if your parents bring you to St. Jude's, like, you're dying. I'm sorry. Like, you should give up hope because they clearly have already. You know, but a little dark. We'll get back. St. Valentine. St. Valentine. St. Valentine, as I said, patron saint of love and marriage, and like, you know, being a patron saint is kind of like working at a tech startup where you have to have like 7 jobs, you know, so like, no one's ever the patron saint of one thing, you know, like, so like, for example, St. Valentine is the patron saint of love and marriage, but he's also the patron saint of epilepsy and beekeepers, which like has nothing to do with love and marriage, you know, but like, I feel bad, like, could you imagine if like you're an epileptic beekeeper, you know, and like you show up to work one day, right, like you're in your beekeeper outfit, and then like all of a sudden you have a seizure, you're getting stung by a bunch of bees, like they're coming at you, and you think, I should pray to my patron saint, St. Valentine, please help me. And then someone overhears you, they're gonna be like, finding love isn't gonna fix this situation, you know? You need a doctor, not a girlfriend, you know? But anyway, speaking of love and marriage, I did get engaged a few months ago. Yeah, very exciting. My fiance got me a male engagement ring, boo. My fiance got me, I wanted a male engagement ring because like I spent a lot of money on her engagement ring, and I was like, it's only fair if you spend a lot of money on me, you know? So like, but like here's the thing, when I proposed to my fiance, it was like the most romantic moment of my life, right? Like, you know, I went to our favorite spot in the park, both of our families were there was champagne, I hired a photographer, the whole 9 yards. When my fiance gave me a male engagement ring, she was just kind of like, here you go, you know, Merry Christmas, it's not wrapped, you know, like, this is an unpopular opinion, but I kind of wanted my fiance to propose to me too, you know, because like, she pegs me, you know, I kind of like to be the girl sometimes, you know, like, I wanted her to get down on one knee to propose, and then I would get down on my knees to get the strap-on ready for her. That's it, but no, I'll tell you guys something though, my fiance, she does not like this outfit, you know, but like, I found a good solution to that problem, and this is what I wore when I proposed, you know? I figured I would take her least favorite outfit and make it her most favorite outfit, you know? And then I've got a built-in excuse anytime she wants to say something, right? I could just always be like, well, it was good enough for you to say yes in, you know? It was good enough for you to say yes in, and now it's not good enough for Allison's wedding, you know? Like, this is how I dress for weddings, by the way. But no, I think me and my fiance are ready to get married. I'm very excited to get married, but like, we're not ready for kids yet. Like, I know that. And I say that because like I don't drink, right? So like, when I stop drinking, when you stop drinking, you have to find like a weird hobby to like fill the hole that drinking left, you know? So like, when I stopped drinking, I got really into claw machines. And like, here's the thing, I'm really good at claw machines. Like I don't think I could go pro, but I think I could beat anyone in this room at a claw machine. But so what happened was, me and my fiance, we went to a matinee showing of a movie, weekend day, so like, the theater's packed, and it's filled with kids, they're running around to the arcade games, and as soon as we got into the theater, I made a beeline to the claw machine, you know? She was like, we don't even have tickets yet. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is what I gotta do, you know? But so I go to the claw machine, and so like, one claw machine is me, and then the claw machine next to me is like a group of 6-year-olds, you know? And so like, I'm cleaning up at this claw machine, right? Like I got like 6 rubber duckies on my arm, and like the kids next to me, they couldn't pick up a Beanie Baby to save their lives. But so like I'm doing well, and my fiance, she's frustrated. She doesn't want all these rubber ducks that I've won. So like and I'll be honest, when I do claw machines, I do it for the love of the game, not the prizes. You know, I don't need the rubber ducks. So she takes the rubber ducks and she starts going around up to little kids going, oh hey, do you want this? And every single kid she went up to just like froze, like didn't know what to do. And I think it's because the first lesson you teach any child is always, don't talk to strangers, especially not ones offering you free toys. You know? So like that's why I think we're not ready for children. I think she is ready to kidnap one though. But no, anyway, I'll tell you guys something exciting happened for me recently. I got invited to an intervention. Yeah, not my own, so we're already ahead there. But no, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, you know, I've got a friend who's got a drug problem. And I said, oh, that's terrible. And he was like, yeah, we're going to have an intervention. And I said, yeah, that's probably a good decision. And they said, we don't have enough people coming to the intervention, though. And I was like, how bad could his drug problem really be then, right? You know? But so he was like, do you want to come? You've met him a couple of times. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. But here's the thing. I don't know the guy that well, so like I'm gonna go to this intervention and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate the whole time. Like I imagine people are gonna be reading their letters going like, oh, you know, it really makes me very upset when you use hard drugs. And then I'm gonna be sitting in the corner going, you know, I've partied with you. You're not that bad. My friend that invited me here, Sean Barry, he's much worse than you. No. Let's see. There's a trend going around on social media right now where people are saying, you know, I wish younger me could meet current me because younger me would think that current me is so hot and cool. And like, I think that's a good trend. I think that that's positive. But like, I know I can't participate in it because like, if younger me could meet me now, he would think that I suck. You know, like if 13-year-old me met 30-year-old me, his first question would be, why aren't you wearing eyeliner? You know? And like, you know, it's one of those things where like, I know that I'm letting younger me down, but like not in like a good way. Cause like, when I was 14 years old, I saw the movie The Basketball Diaries, right? And if you're not familiar with The Basketball Diaries, it's just 2 hours of 90s Leo just strung out on heroin, you know? And like, the message of the movie is, don't do heroin. But when you're 14 and you see 90s Leo strung out, he looks pretty hot. I was like, heroin looks really fucking cool. And so like, you know, I've never done heroin at this, and it's weird that that's letting 14-year-old me down. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh, you just got older, smarter, wiser, you know, that's why you're not doing that. But then like when I was 19, The Wolf of Wall Street came out, and that's just 3 hours of Leonardo DiCaprio strung out on Quaaludes. And my thought was, I should switch my major to finance, you know, then I'll get to do Quaaludes. It turns out, if there's just any movie where Leonardo DiCaprio is strung out on drugs, that's just kind of the life I want to live, right? You know, I'm lucky it's not The Departed, you know. But anyway, let's pivot a little bit. Has anyone in here ever cried at a concert? Yeah. Who'd you cry at?
Jonas Brothers.
Jonas Brothers, that's a good one to cry at. I feel like a lot of people had their first time crying at a concert to the Jonas Brothers, right? Like, you know, the hormone, everything. It's a great time. No, I cry at a lot of concerts, but like, I'm going to a lot of like heavy metal and punk shows. So like, there's mosh pits, there's screaming, there's distorted guitars, and then I'm just like crying. And like, I'm not like away from the mosh pits when I'm crying. I'm in the mosh pits. And like, that's the worst place at a concert to cry at, because like you just look like you got hit too hard, right? Like someone slams into you and then they're just like, oh shit, I'm sorry, man. I guess I'll calm down. All right, another question. Has anyone here ever seen one musical artist in concert like multiple times? Yeah. Who have you seen and how many times?
Green Day, so many times. 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Can anyone top 5 or 6?
Yes.
Yeah. Who and how many times?
Oh, I feel like the Wombats like 7.
7. Okay, cool. Well, so here's the thing. I've seen my favorite band, a band called The Wonder Years, 26 times. You know, like, and like 26 compared to 7, I look like a crazy person. You know, like anytime that like I ask that question, I'm always hoping someone's like, oh yeah, Fish, because the Fish fans are always like, I've seen Fish 125 times. You know, I'm just getting started, but like. Anyway, Seen the Wonder Years 26 times. I've cried every single time I've seen the Wonder Years. You know, like one time I was coming out of a Wonder Years show and I heard someone over my shoulder go, "Oh, there's the guy who was crying in the pit," which is a very humbling experience. But like I once saw the Wonder Years twice in one day, cried at both of those, but it was also the only time I ever hooked up with someone that I met at a show, right? What had happened was I was 23 years old, they were doing an acoustic show, they were doing a matinee and an evening. Before I went to the acoustic show, I went to go see a dominatrix for the first time, which like doesn't really play into the story, but it happened, so I feel like I need to tell you. So like, I think when most people imagine going to see a dominatrix, they imagine like going to like a dark alley in the middle of the night. She took me, we met at noon in front of a Starbucks, you know, like she didn't take me to some dungeon washed in red light. She took me to her dorm room at Pratt, you know. I had to get checked in with her RA before getting dominated, you know. I was like filling out the sign-in sheet being like, "So, do you do pegging?" "No, no pegging, that's okay," you know? And like, for the record, the reason the dominatrix wouldn't do pegging is because if there's any penetration at all, including a dildo going into me, it counts as prostitution and is illegal. But like, I don't know any undercover cop that's gonna be like, "All right, you know, I'm ready, put it in, gotcha! You're under arrest. Let's get these handcuffs off of me and onto you." But so I finished with the dominatrix, and then I went to this concert, and like, while I was there, I met this girl who like, I was 23 at the time, she was 27, which isn't a very big age gap in retrospect, but when you're 23, it feels so much older. So like me and this girl, we were talking, we were flirting, and I remember thinking, you know, before tonight, I've kissed girls. Tonight, I kiss a woman, you know? But so, you know, we were at the show, it was going well, like a band comes out, I start crying, and we still made out, and I was like, "Oh, cool, this is amazing." But then, you know, we took a break, we went to a bar in between the shows, and then we went back to the second show, and band comes out, I start crying again, and then she's like, "Maybe you don't want to come back to my place with me," you know, like it hurt. It kind of felt like I got my heart stepped on, but like earlier that day I got my balls stepped on, so like it's kind of like a win-lose scenario. But anyway, I am getting older, and I'm trying to be like more understanding of people, more like, you know, making sense of things, like, you know, mostly like my parents, right? Like, you know, I'm realizing like, you know, everything my parents did was trying to do the best for me. But every now and then I realize like, my parents definitely messed up on some decisions, right? Like, missed some parenting layups, if you will. Like, when I played Little League Baseball, I wasn't good at sports, which is why I'm doing this, you know? But like, when I played Little League Baseball, I played right field. And like, if you don't know anything about Little League Baseball, like, right field is where they put the kids that suck, you know? Like, if any of you guys ever have kids that play right field in Little League, pull them out of Little League, you know? Like, they really need St. Jude to help them. But like, my dad would walk out to the sideline every time I got sent out there, and he would try to like coach me from the sidelines. He would be like, "Take 3 steps backwards, 2 steps to your right." Like, I ended up catching more fly balls with my face than with my glove, you know? Like, I think the parenting decision should have been, we're pulling you out of this and putting you into drama club, you know? But like, I think a bigger parenting flub that happened was my first day of swim lessons was scheduled for September 11th, 2001. Yeah, I was in the 2nd grade. I grew up outside the city in Westchester County, so like just an hour outside. So like, but I went to Catholic school. They didn't make an announcement in the middle of the day or anything. Like, I lived in a pre-9/11 America for like 6 hours after 9/11 happened. So what was supposed to happen was my friend's mom was going to pick me up from school and take me and my friend to swim lessons. I got out of school. I was looking for my friend's mom. I didn't see her, but I saw my dad. So I go up to him and I go, "Oh, hey, Dad, are you taking me to swim lessons?" And he said, "No, swim lessons got canceled." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "There was an issue with the chemicals in the pool." And I was like, "Okay, cool, get in the car." And then he's like, "Did you hear about what happened? You know, we're a nation at war. There was a terrorist attack." And like, just for years, I thought this was a weird coincidence that 9/11 and the chemicals at the Terrytown. I was like, what two tragedies at once. But I think the biggest one was when I was 8 years old, my favorite basketball player was Kobe Bryant, right? And like, this was also the time that Kobe Bryant was on trial for rape, right? And like, I was 8 years old, I didn't know what that meant. So, you know, I went and I asked my dad, I was like, "Hey, what does that mean?" And to this day, I think he explained it in the best way he could have explained it to an 8-year-old, right? He said, that is when someone does something with your body that you don't want them to do with it. Which, like, to this day, best way to explain that to an 8-year-old. But then he took me to get a haircut I didn't want. And I should never tell people my barber raped me. Anyway, I'm James Crowley.